Yeah, I got it because it's the microphone. You can boost the microphone, and you can't pick it up with this thing. So it's a really nice booster. You could do cuts and edits with it. I haven't gotten that far into it.
Yeah. I'll probably get over to you, so I'm not standing in front of
Okay, so we should do that. Right. And there's a lot of people on the Wi-Fi at the jobs.
Thank you, everybody. Welcome to the Mount Forest City Council meeting for July 17th, 2018, 6 o'clock p.m. And we are going to stand for a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance led by Mr. Wilson.
Allegiance to the flag under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Johnson, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mayor Jerome?
Here.
Ms. Hope? Here. Ms. Tilley?
You're given 3 minutes to talk and to express anything that is not on our agenda, and any questions will be answered in at a future time on our website and within 14 business days. And I got the first one up here right now. We got 4 cards, and one is Gary McKenty. There you go. There we go. And state your name and address, please.
Sure. Gary McKechnie, 428 South Clayton Street. Just wanted to let you know, I was here, I think about a month and a half ago, perhaps, to talk about a possible statue or memorial bust for Mabel Norris Reese, who most of you know, and some of the people behind me might know, from Gilbert King's books, Devil in the Grove and Beneath the Ruthless Sun. And I've written the city council to let you know we wanted to proceed with that. We have a sculptor lined up who would like to work on this project, and then it was suggested that I go to the Public Arts Commission and present the idea to them. Did that about 2 weeks ago, I think, and just wanted to let everyone here know, if you haven't heard from them yet, unanimously supported. Everyone knows the book, they know the story. They know the legend of Mabel Norris Reese. For the folks behind me who don't know, she was the reporter for the Mount Dora Topic in the late 40s, 50s, and into the 1960s, who stood up to Sheriff McCall after he was conducting a reign of terror against the African American community, as well as anyone who crossed him. So we thought it would be appropriate to have a bust of Mabel Norris Reese put on public display. The Public Art Commission has agreed, and they're going to be scouting out locations for that. We also have a GoFundMe page. Some of you have actually already made donations, which we appreciate. And for the folks behind me and the millions of people watching at home, you can go to gofundme.com/remembermabel. You can make a secure donation at that site. And when we get we will be progressing or moving forward even, as we're raising the money, so we can have everything, meet up at the end. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And if you don't, no?
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being behind
Glad
me.
you got support.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Next I have Cheryl Middleton.
Michelle Middleton, 311 North Grandview Street here in Mount Dora. I'm here twofold. First of all, next month we have our teacher and staff appreciation luncheon for 7 of the Mount Dora schools in Sorrento, and many of you have already donated, and I thank you so very much. But we can still use cases of paper, $25 donation, or any kind of door prizes. We expect to honor 600 of the amazing employees that we have here working on behalf of our children at this luncheon. So if anybody has a business and would like to give a door prize or anything, they can come see me. They can drop them off here at SunTrust Bank, you know, anytime. The other project that I'm involved in is Leadership Lake's Hobnob. It is an event we give every 2 years. It's politically neutral. You can come on August 14th to the college, and all the different candidates will be there. And for a $12 ticket, we'll do a straw vote. You get a barbecue dinner. There's also complimentary beer and wine, and you can come and just face-to-face meet the many different candidates that will be representing you in the coming years. I have tickets for that event if anybody's interested, or they can go to Leadership Lake's website. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Don Stewart.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Manager, Council. Don Stewart, 1622 Normandy Drive, President, Visit Mount Dora. A few days ago, I was talking with Mr. Kevin Backbiner of the Community Trust, and Kevin told me he likes to keep a low profile. So I immediately thought, I've got to do something to destroy that. So we at Visit Mount Dora decided that what we'd like to do is to ask Kevin if he would appear here tonight or come here tonight and meet me, which he has decided to do. And with your permission, I'd like to ask him if he would join me at the podium. He's also brought the amazing Mr. Grimm with him. He's also welcome if he would like to.
You do realize you only have 3 minutes.
Sometimes you can keep too low. And so we wanted to take the opportunity to do this entire year long. And having the opportunity from check from Visit Mount Dora to this lifelong. I'm happy.
Thank you for council for giving me Outdoor Art Festival going on 20 years now. Engaged to the Outdoor deck for over $23,000.
Good evening, Chrissy Style, 1850 Hilltop Drive. Before I make my announcement, I want to give you a little background on the Edgar Award, which is a book award. named after Edgar Allan Poe. So it's a mystery award, and it's given for many different subjects of books, fiction, nonfiction, first book. So there's only 3 authors ever that have won the Edgar Award twice, and this author is one of them. So she won for her best first novel, and she won for best mystery novel 4 years later. So she'll be at my store, Barrel of Books and Canes, on Saturday at 1 o'clock to talk about her new book, this one that came out today, and also to sign books and that sort of thing. 1 o'clock this Saturday at the store on 4th Avenue. Just want to let everyone know because that's kind of a cool thing. Thank you.
Is there anybody else from the public wish to address the council on any item not on the agenda tonight? Okay, seeing none, we have the honor of having a Girl Scout, Zoe Miller, in the audience tonight, who's going to give us a presentation, and I'll let the city manager, if you have an introduction thing, if you'd like to do that, that'd be fine. And Zoe, come on up.
Hello, my name is Zoe Miller, and I am a Girl Scout cadet, and I am currently working toward earning my Silver Award. A Silver Award is the most prestigious award a Girl Scout of my age can earn. Earning this award shows that I am an organized leader who is determined and dedicated toward improving something in my community. Back in May of 2017, I attended something called Montessori Model United Nations. My whole class studied the entire year researching major world issues. These issues included women's rights, children's rights, agriculture development, food security, and nutrition. We wrote formal position papers which were submitted to the United Nations. This is my partner, Claire. We studied agriculture development, food security, and nutrition, and represented as the delegation of Libya. So what is the problem with plastic shopping bags? Everyone else uses them. We have been lured into the complacency by the convenience of these bags without considering the cost. They are so cheap for businesses that you are offered one even when you purchase something so small you can hold it in your hand. Here are some reasons why we need to stop using single-use plastic shopping bags. 160,000 plastic bags are used globally every second. Each bag is only used for roughly 12 minutes total. Side by side, these bags can encircle the planet 7 times. Plastic bags were introduced to supermarkets in the 1970s. In the U.S. alone, 100 billion plastic bags are used yearly. That's more than 300 bags per person. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch. This Great Pacific Garbage Patch is a floating landfill in the Pacific Ocean. It is more than twice the size of Texas. This floating landfill is largely comprised of plastic and is a huge hazard to marine life. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch weighs more than 7 million tons. All this plastic is killing marine life. Marine life mistake floating plastic for food. Over 1 million seabirds and 100,000 sea mammals are killed each year due to plastic pollution. The fish that you order at dinner has probably ingested some plastic particles, so indirectly you're eating plastic too. It's not just marine life. This could be any animal outside the building or parks right now. Plastic bags don't just disappear, they photodegrade. This means that they just break down into smaller and smaller pieces. Tiny particles of photodegraded plastic outnumber plankton 6 to 1. This is a problem that compounds upon itself each day. But there's a roadblock. The state of Florida has made it against the law to ban single-use plastic bags or tax their use. Florida law states that no local governmental agency, or state government agency may enact any rule, regulation, or ordinance regarding the use, disposition, sale, prohibition, restriction, or tax of such auxiliary containers, wrappings, or disposable plastic bags. I am determined that we can make a change if we change our approach. I'm not giving up. This is where Plan B comes in. Rather than forcing businesses to stop using single-use plastic bags through a ban, we can make consumers more aware by pointing out that businesses that voluntarily in downtown Mount Dora that do not use plastic bags. It will also highlight an issue and start a conversation limit the amount of plastic bags being used. The idea of a reward rather than a penalty system that other towns and cities. A new city endorsed program.
Make mention and Miss Summer was also at the meeting, and so we went over some of the things, and we're looking on plastic bags throughout the state. So so we encourage those. Way, a very good job on that, and make on that, so get it copyrighted, and but it's no, it's a great program, and we discussed the idea of what she wanted to do, which is great, and I like it, and with a consensus, without objection, that we endorse this. Right, Ms. Hill, and then Mr. Lawson.
Well, personally, and on behalf of all of the members of the
Microphone.
Yeah, I thought I had it on. I said personally, and on behalf of all of my constituents in the first district, I endorse this 150%, and will do anything I can do to help, make this a reality and make this campaign a success. I'd like to take it further, but that's a discussion for another day.
Very well, Chloe, very well done. Some of you might expect I say this. One reason to endorse it is to send a message to the legislature that we're still a home rule city and we ought to be able to do this on our own without having the legislature dictate to us that we can't do it. Sorry for the plug, but I fully endorse it. Thank you very much.
That's Mr. Massey.
It's another opportunity to be someplace special. Thank you for what you've done.
Thank you.
And just want to close out, when I was over in, you just came back from Cedar Key. When I was in Cedar Key, and unfortunately I got to see shouldn't have seen it, but I did, a pelican, and was out there in the, trying to get a piece of plastic out of his mouth, and couldn't do it. And it was, I'll tell you what, I got a couple pictures of it, of what was going on. Another pelican came up to it and tried to take whatever was in his mouth out, and couldn't do it either. And then he was just trying to do something anyway. They flew off into another spot, and couldn't reach him anymore at that point. So hopefully they got it out, whatever it was, but it was just a long string of plastic. I thought it was a fishing line, but it wasn't a fishing line. Some kind of a plastic hanging out of the mouth. So yes, and so there's a need for all that, and to eliminate, if we can, the plastic bags, and whatever we can do so we can bring it out on 441. Our businesses there also, not just the downtown. So we'll start downtown and expand it out. But I want to thank council for their endorsement, and Zoe and Ms. Oaks, go ahead, please.
An additional thought, Zoe. Lake County has a Keep Lake Beautiful committee appointed by the commissioners. Are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not.
Then we need to get you lined up so that you can make them aware of what we're doing here in Outdoor. They started that about 3 years ago, and do different cleanups, but it might be a good educational opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Give them that pitch and tell them it started here.
So I want to thank you very much for the presentation and the time and effort that you're doing on this project. So on behalf of okay, number 2 was for the presentation was taken off tonight, and so we have time for the fire assessment fee.
Yes.
Okay, and we have Ms. Days, would you please introduce?
Thank you, Mayor, council members. At this point in time, our Public Safety Director, Police Chief O'Grady will come up, as well as the Fire Chief, Tim Greiner.
Thank you, John O'Grady, Public Safety Director, and then we have Chief Greiner, the Fire Chief. And thank you for letting us continue the dialogue for the fire assessment fee. I want to introduce two gentlemen, two accountants who are coming. Part of the dialogue that we've been having is on the taxes and the tax benefits of the fire assessment fee, or just what are the taxes, everything about that. So Tim and I felt, as well as the city manager, who brought in two experts that could answer any questions that you may have. After Chief Greiner's presentation, we'll go from there. Our first expert is John Rice with Greenlee, Curris, Rice, Brown, and Garner. Sounds like a law firm. Yes. They're located right here at 627 North Hurley. John graduated from Florida Technological University with a bachelor's degree in accounting. He is a certified public accountant, licensed in the state of Florida. John is a member of both the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Florida Institute of Certified Public Accountants. Our other expert, Alan Silbernagel. Alan is a partner at Silbernagel and Burroughs. They are located at 1666 North Donley, right here in Mount Dora. Alan holds a master's in accounting from Stetson University. His undergraduate degrees from the University of Central Florida, where he earned a bachelor's in finance. So I just wanted to announce them, and now I will turn it over to Chief Greiner.
Thank you for the chance to continue talking about our fire assessment fee. I just want to sort of set the table for to sort of reset some things that we've talked about in the past. We've discussed how this is sort of on page 1 of the presentation that you have, sort of the national goal of 4 minutes travel time. You will have seen most of these slides before. We've discussed with you all how not only our call load has gone up, but our travel times have gone up, and that has to do with how busy our streets are. And we've also talked to you about what our goal is, to try and have a third fire station so that we can reduce our response times. This slide on page 5 you've seen before, which discusses the different fire assessment fee amounts that we've talked about. So it starts with the 100% ceiling. On page 6 and slide 7, you'll see with this fire assessment fee, we could have the third station and fund the personnel to go with it. As you all know, we've applied for a SAFER grant, which would allow us to do the same thing at a lesser amount. So this is a new slide for you. As you know that we currently have a $50 fire assessment fee. So it's the change in the fire assessment fee that this slide illustrates and the impact that that would have on homeowners. One of the things we've talked about in the past is the third homestead exemption. So every home in Mount Dora that's above $125,000 would see a $339 reduction in their property taxes. So all of these fire assessment fees that we've talked about would result, when you take into account that third homestead exemption, a lower property tax for each home. Yes, ma'am.
Tim, do you actually know how many homes maybe that are not over 125 in the city? Did you reach out to the property?
I do have that number.
Thank you.
I don't have the number off the top of my head. I do have that number. I just don't have it with me tonight. I'll get that for you. So, Ms. Tillett, you had asked, and on slide 10, the tax implications are non-ad valorem property taxes deductible on your federal income tax. And that's the publication from the IRS that explains that. So the short answer, and we have two accountants that can elaborate, but the short answer is for businesses, yes, it is, as a legitimate business expense, and for residents, it is not. However, if you look at the next page, page 11, in 2018, the standard deduction for a married couple has doubled to $24,000, and the White House Council of Economic Advisors is predicting that over 92% of people filing taxes in the United States will use the standard deduction. So less than 8% will actually itemize their taxes, so that deductible, not deductible, wouldn't affect them. And I included an article from Forbes magazine for you that details that from the White House's Council of Economic Advisors. That's all I have for you tonight. I don't know if that answered your question well enough. Yes, ma'am?
Yeah. May I?
Yes, fine.
Yeah, that answered that part of the, that part of the question. I have one more on page 5.
Yes, ma'am.
Where you're talking, just so over how many years, we're talking about the 166 per year, and then the, you know, the estimated gross revenue, estimated net revenue. Over how many years is it envisioned that we would tax our people this $166 a year and recoup the
So this-
1.4 million?
So very much like millage, council sets it every year.
No. All right. What do you envision the number of years being in order to do whatever you wanted to get? I mean, yeah, it's basically a division problem. Does anybody have it off the top of their head?
Well, if you're gonna build 3 stations, we'll look at a 20-year to a 30-year according to the number that we wish to be at. So I would say that we would look at that through the process, and that's really where it would fall out. It's probably gonna be at least 20 years, but it could go up to 30 if we wanna reduce the payments. Go up to the 30-year to build all 3 stations, and any variation in between, we would adjust and discuss.
But, and I'm assuming that we'll have more discussions over this during the budget workshops, because I do have I do have some, I don't know what to call it, ideas or whatever, as far as the pros and cons of a fire assessment fee versus you know, a dedicated millage rate that I'd like us as a council to think about, but I'm not sure that right now that this moment in time is the appropriate venue to raise those. I didn't think so, okay, that's fine. But I will on Thursday or whenever we discuss this.
Thursday we'll have lots of time.
Yep, okay, perfect, as long as I have time.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen, for coming.
Okay, I was on that. Sorry. Yes. Have the approval of tonight's agenda. So moved. Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, yes.
I don't know if this is out of order, please tell me if I am. One of the items on the agenda, which I think a number of the people are here tonight for, could that be moved up? Or do we want to keep it the way it's on?
If we can, if the council would like, it's your decision, and I entertain we've already approved the agenda, but I'll take another motion to move.
We don't know which one we're talking about.
Yes, we are.
Number okay.
9.
Give me a number.
Resolution 2018-107, that's what
Yes.
you're referring to?
10, yes. 2018-107, followed by 108.
Yes.
Okay, phone, everybody's.
Are all parties here?
All the parties. Is there everybody here that we will go ahead and discuss?
I also have one item to pull from the agenda, if I may, sir.
Which is?
Item number 8, resolution 2018-102, has not been finalized to be able to present. Pull that, please.
I move we adopt the agenda with those changes.
Okay, the second on that?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll jump right over to item number. Okay, we have a consent agenda first, consent agenda, and approval of our city council meeting minutes, as stated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, and we'll go right to the resolution number 2018-107, and Ms. Comstock, could you read the title, please?
That actually will be
Ms. Sutton, sorry, okay, go ahead.
Not a problem. Sherry Sutton for the record. The item before you is resolution 2018-107. This is a resolution of the City of Mount Dora authorizing the settlement agreement between the City of Mount Dora, Nancy Nemhauser, Lubomir Jastrzębski, related to case number 5:18-CV-87-JSM-PRL for providing for intent, providing authority to the city manager for implementing administrative actions, providing for execution, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for severability, providing for conflict, and providing an effective date. What this resolution does is it enables the mayor to execute on behalf of the city the settlement agreement that has been reached in the case that it was just mentioned in the title. I can give you some highlights specifically about the settlement agreement. It does several different things of importance. It provides 180 days to the property owners to bring the property into a finished product with a protective coating placed on the painting. They will certify their compliance with that protective coating and finalized product to the city manager. They will dismiss the suit. They will execute a release, and they will, in terms of maintenance, keep the structure and the painting in good repair in accordance with the existing codes and maintenance codes of the city of Mount Dora. In exchange, the city will allow the painting itself to earn a grandfather status, provided that it's done in accordance with the timeframes that have been provided and the certification is received. It will cause the city to close out its code enforcement case and release the liens that were generated by the code enforcement case. The city will pay $15,000 toward the property owner's attorney's fees. The city will create a special code advisory committee and extend a membership opportunity to Mrs. Nimhauser. We will also, with the advisory committee's assistance, revise the sign code for the city of Mount Dora. Those are the main provisions of the settlement agreement. In addition, there is one other requirement, that the parties jointly conduct a press conference. A press conference will be held tomorrow at 12:30 in these chambers, and so you are all encouraged to attend if you would, please. And that is specifically what Resolution 2018-107 provides, and I can answer any questions that you might have.
Can I get a motion for approval of resolution number 2018-107?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, and any comments from council to this supplement?
No.
Thank you.
Very good.
And thanks for your work on this.
Absolutely. Which brings me to the next item. The next item is Resolution 2018. Oh, I thought you voted. I'm sorry.
Nope, not yet. Okay, just
getting ahead of myself.
Time for questions, and since this is a resolution, does, I guess, public also? Okay, does anybody from the public wish to address this item?
Doesn't have to be a public hearing. But
No, it's not a public hearing, it's just what we've always done with
Okay.
resolutions, so we're gonna keep doing it, so we always do it from that standpoint. So we'll just, and you can help monitor any public comments if you like at that point. So anybody from the public wish to address this item? Come on up. State your name and address. And the 3-minute rule applies.
Thank you. My name is Michael Hurley. I've been a resident of 20436 Bill Collins Road, Eustis. I've been a resident of this area for 30 years. Before I met my lovely wife at Deli's. Don't tell anybody that I said that, but I said it. And back 28 years ago, I stood in front of City Council, back when we were trying to save the house, which was called the Unity House. And I am the person that named the Unity House. I just want you to know that. Back 28 years ago. And we fought, and 2 people voted, 3 had voted for it, 3 voted against it. And I told my friend Dave Faust, that passed away about 2 years ago, that if we can save that old house, we're going to call it the Unity House. And that's where the name came from. It was recently changed to Simpson Farmhouse, but I want to share that with you to let you know that I've always been fighting for the community and for what I believe in. I'm also a 2-year Vietnam veteran, so I know what it's like to be spit on and knocked down and pushed around, but I take it very well. I've been friends with Nancy and her family for 2 years. I was called into a property of hers because of the disgraceful work that was being done by 2 other contractors. and I saved her, and I'm still attempting to save her. But I also understand why she fights like she does, because I understand where her husband is and where his background comes from. And I've been exposed to 5 exchange students from the Socialist Party in Russia and Ukraine and Poland, and I know their background. I understand his background. When he came here when he was only 22 years old and had to struggle for 10 years to save the money to become a resident of our great country. And I honor him for that. He's a physicist. I was just honored with going to Russia and Ukraine for an entire month, and I was honored to walk the Ukrainian girl down the aisle. I saw how these people live, and so I can understand how her husband lived and how much it means to him to be free in our country. And this is the only America we got left, and I think we all need to start some unity, and we need to start now. I think we need to set an example for the entire, not just Mount Dora, not just Florida, but the entire world, because our world is falling apart right in front of us. We're turning into a socialized country. I've seen what socialism does to other countries. I've seen what it does to other children. I've seen what it does to their culture, and we got to stop it. And this is a darn good place to start right here. You may remember the term out of Dave Walker in 441. It said, "This country was created by God and built by the American spirit." The big sign on the corner, Dave Walker, I paid an $800 fine for that. That was Michael Hurley's sign. And a lot of you know Dave Hurley. He owns about 28 properties in Mount Dora, and he felt the same way. We served in Vietnam together. But thank you for this time you shared with us. I think you made a wise decision. I think it's critical we stand behind this family. And I think we need to send a message to the whole world as not only the plastic bags, this beautiful young girl, but as a united community. And we are all in unity on this. And let's stop it here, please. I love you all very much. Thank you for this time.
Thank you very much. Does anybody else wish to address council? Please take your hat off, please.
Oh, that's all right. I just got back from the gym. Yeah, mine's not as in-depth. My name is John Napolis. I live over on Shirley Avenue.
Address?
805 Shirley Avenue. I just wanted to say that, I represent a fairly large group of people here in town. Most of them, they're working right now and stuff like that. They're from the ages of 25 to 35. But basically, I wanted to say that everybody seems to like it. Everybody likes the building. It's a nice change. I think in the future, I think this is working out for the best. At least it sounds this way. But if you look at any progressive town or city, whether they be the super progressive like Seattle or moderate in the middle of the road like Boone, they all have murals. They all have paintings on buildings everywhere we go. And if Mount Dora claims to be this artistic spot, why not embrace the arts and a little bit of something that's different? And I think in the long run, I just wanted to say, come here. A lot of people here in town that live here like to celebrate these type of diversities and artistic expressions. They want to see more of it, to be sincere. A lot of people want to see this kind of stuff. And I think, to piggyback off what he said, it also goes with the freedom of expression. I mean, as long as it's not offensive to anyone, and again, if you have a special commission that decides it's offensive to neighbors or what. But I think this town is known for its arts, and I think it's good that we should support that sort of thing. That's really all I want to say.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Anybody else wish to address council on this item? Okay, seeing none, back to council. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Hogue?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Ms. Tillett?
Yes.
Mr. Rolfson?
Yes.
Mr. Crail?
Yes.
Mr. Massey?
Yes.
Mayor Jerome?
Yes. Okay. And I missed something. Do you want to?
All right, now it's time for the next one.
Okay.
You have before you resolution number 2018-108. This is a resolution of the City of Mount Dora creating a special code advisory committee, providing legislative findings, providing authority to the city manager for implementing administrative providing for conflict, settlement agreement that you all just approved. But what it in fact does is gives you all a little ability to have a committee help you, if you so choose, the council or the city manager, in fact-finding and gathering any kind of information that may come up related to the specialty of an ordinance that's being proposed or even considered. Very interestingly tonight, what you had presented to you with respect to the bags, this is something that could come before this committee that this committee could be used for. What this committee is made up of. A member of the historic committee, which in some component appointed to the committee. The final 3 members would be which is missing that says and shall be appointed by the county manager. But I needed to bring that to your attention. This committee would sunset in 5 years, and that something that you wanted to in fact use to your throughout the city for different things. There has been some so if that's something that you all would like to obviously not a problem if that is of concern to you that apply and decide to appoint her as one of those members that the city council. Planning and Zoning Commission. That's why you do not have a Planning and Zoning Commission member on this particular pass through Planning and Zoning and then pass through to you all.
Okay.
Move approval.
2018-01. Okay, motion is second. And any discussion of council? Just want to make a clarification. You had said that unanimous vote of council for the 2 appointments would be a majority.
Yes.
Majority vote.
Yeah, majority.
And one other comment, and I may have misunderstood. At item F, where you made that correction, I thought you said appointed by the county manager.
The city manager.
City manager. That's
yes.
What? Okay, I want to be sure that's
I'm sorry if I did.
All right.
When you wear multiple hats, sometimes that happens. Ms. Tillett.
Yeah, I do have some concerns with the length of the 5 years. We have all appointments now, says for a term of 2 years. I would recommend that we sunset in 2 years. I know that if this is, we're gonna try this out and see how it works, we can always reinstate it, but I have found that I think we have some urgent work that needs to be done, and I'm just concerned that if we have a period of 5 years, that it's going to kind of take longer. I'd like to see those codes that brought about this whole issue looked at, revised appropriately, and then brought back to the council and the planning and zoning sooner rather than later. So that's my only comment. I'm gonna propose that we sunset in 2 years, of course, with the ability to up the ante. Or are we gonna? It doesn't make sense to appoint someone for 2 years but keep the committee going for 5, because then you've got 2 years, and a year left. So let's make it 2 and keep it clean, keep it simple, get the work done, and then we can decide whether the committee needs to live on. Those are my comments.
Ms. Suxman, if you approach the podium, is this a city ordinance that requires 2 readings?
No, this is a resolution that just creates a committee.
Okay.
So it's just, it would be adopted and go into effect immediately and allow the city manager to begin.
We can work within any of those years if we want to. Is there a requirement that we should stay with 5 years, or is it okay to go down to 2? Or
No requirement whatsoever. It was the amount of time that was put in based on different conversations that I had with you all and what you were going to use the committee for.
our manager's okay with this. I don't care about the 2 years or 5 years personally. So,
Okay, I agree that I'm not comfortable with 5 years, but I really am not comfortable with 2. I would rather the wording be that it's done for 2 years, and at the end of 18 months, that it has the option to be renewed for 2 more years, so that the people that are on there will know if they're working. You can look at their progress in 18 months, and I think this is a lot of work that has to be done, but 5 years did seem long, so I'd rather have a time frame where we relook at 18 months, and then right, and so it ends up being a total of 4 years if that's what's needed. I guess where I'm coming from.
Sounds like a good idea. It really doesn't make too much because we do make the appointments, like you said, for 2 year appointments on these other committees that we have. But we do. Our council also is elected 2 years, and we do have staggered terms. So you're going to have overlaps. So I can appoint somebody, one of the people that I appoint 1 year can be replaced then by the mayor in another year, something like that. So it's always going to be a turnover anyway. So it really doesn't make too much difference, whether we have 2 year appointments or with the sunset thing. The 2 year sunset is not making too much of a difference right now at this point, I don't think. So.
If we go that route, where we have 2 years where we'd reevaluate in another 2 years, do you want it to be something that comes back before you to recreate? Rather than having the city manager do it?
I'd like to see it come back to council, and because I'd like to see the progress that this committee has made, and if they have, come to agreements, come to decisions, passed it through to planning and zoning for their chop, an approval, and then back up to council. If there have been any, I want to see their progress. So that's my take on it.
I do.
So, any other comments on that issue? Because what I'll do is can I just get a consent from the council to make that change on that, or we need to go through an amendment process for that?
I'll make the change.
Okay.
This change that you've suggested.
Okay, everybody on council in agreement to that?
My motion will include the consensus of the council to direct our council in this case to make those corrections.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so again, I'll bring us to the public again, and every resolution goes to the public. So anybody from the public wish to address this item? Seeing none, we have a roll call vote, please, Ms. Johnson.
Mr. Ralston?
Yes.
Ms. Hope?
Yes.
Ms. Tillett?
Yes, with
Mr.
the change has been, so yes, okay.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Crail?
Yes.
Mr. Massey?
Yes.
Mayor Jerome?
Yes. Okay, those two items are done. Thank you. Thank you very much for everything. And we're going to go back to our first item on our resolutions, and resolution number 2018-53, and solid waste service contract with Waste Management. Ms. Cockcroft, would you please read the title?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Resolution number 2018-53. A resolution of City Council of the City of Mount Dora, Florida, authorizing a municipal refuse collection disposal service contract extension, providing for expenditure of funds, providing for legislative providing funds accounts, providing for authority to the city manager for implementing administrative action.
Excuse me, sir. Can we close the doors, please?
Providing for the mayor to execute, providing for a savings provision, and providing for scrivener's errors, conflict, severability, and effective date.
Thank you, Ms. Hayes.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. Mark Radowski is with Public Works Division, and he has worked along with Joe Grasakis, and I think both of them are here to be able to present to you the waste management contract. As presented, we also have Waste Management here, so they're here to answer any questions. So I'll turn it over to Mark and Joe and let them give you information and show and tell.
Okay. Yeah, we're doing a little show and tell here as Joe is wheeling in the one of the carts. You may recall, I believe it was in on April the 17th, we had a workshop with Waste Management. We had Doug here, if that's the correct date, I don't know if you remember that, but we had Waste Management here, and we had a discussion about the extending the contract. And essentially, I'll just refresh your memory very quickly. What we talked about was extending the contract until September the 30th, 2027. In extending this contract, what we were going to do is restructure the collection, the service, so that the residential collection is going to be 1 day a week. That collection will include recycling yard waste and residential garbage. They will also be going to an automated system for collecting the garbage, and so all of this led up to the thing that it was going to be a reduction in rates for the residential customers, and so that's what's going on. In addition to that, I believe you guys are also going to compress natural gas with their collection vehicles. So overall, what we're seeing is a reduction in residential collection waste for solid waste. And then the other thing that we did in there was we took out the what was that called?
Recycle bank.
Yes, the recycle bank. Yeah, the recycle bank program. We were getting very, very small participation in the recycle bank program. It was costing us roughly $24,000 a year to participate in that. We're just going to pass that right back through to the customers. And all these other cost reductions, I think it was $1.50 per month per customer, is going to be passed back through to the residential customers as well. So that's what we're going to do. What we have here before us is a 96-gallon bear resistant garbage can. And the other aspect that was not included in our workshop was that we have contacted the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission about getting a grant, a $75,000 grant for these bear-resistant carts. And what that works out to is we have in the Country Club of Mount Dora, they have already established a program. They already have written regulations and rules for dealing with bears, and they've had public education programs, and they've also met with the Florida Wildlife Commission. So they are eligible through the city to be able to receive these grants for the bear-resistant carts. And so the $75,000 grant will buy us roughly 300 bear-resistant carts. It'll be available to the residents of Country Club of Mount Dora on a first-come, first-served basis. Anything beyond that, the carts will be made available for other customers who might want them for an upfront fee, the cart cost us $250, so it would be an upfront fee of $250, which is a little steep, but if you want it, you can have it. And then these would remain the property of the city. And the other condition that we have on this contract is at the end of the contract, the residential carts will belong to the city. So that's a general rundown of what we have. I don't know if Joe or Doug, did you guys have anything you wanted to present?
Well, can I come on up, Doug, or Jose? Also, I would like to just touch base on the downtown area. We have the 8 compactors that's also part of this process. That's a critical savings for the city. Doug, you or Jose may like to expand upon that just so the public is aware of what you are contributing.
Sure. Doug McCoy, Waste Management. Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, thank you very much for allowing us to speak tonight. We're real excited about this new contract for the city of Mount Dora. It provides a lot of things. First of all, it provides state-of-the-art collection equipment with CNG vehicles. You'll find these vehicles are very quiet. They're obviously not belching out diesel particulates like some of our diesel trucks, so they're very clean. The fact of the matter is that we are going to once a week, but the real beauty of this program is the fact that everything will be picked up the same day. So you can put your yard waste, your old chair, your garbage cart, and your recycling cart all out on the same day, one time, and our trucks will pass and it'll be completely clean for the rest of the week. So there's no concern about materials left or your neighborhood having something out 2 or 3 days a week. It's all going to be picked up the same day. So it's a great program. As far as the downtown is concerned, we've met with staff, and we're going to be providing what they call Vertipack compactors downtown. We've already got a couple locations ready to go. There'll be 2 of these compactors at 4 sites eventually. There'll be 2 right away, and then 2 later on after the accommodations for electric and concrete pads provided by the city are set up. Real excited about these because aesthetically everything stays in this compactor. There's no, birds can get in it, nobody can get in it. It contains all the materials, a lot of the odors associated with it. They're very easy to use. We picked some compactors that are actually lower in height, where the material, where people, all the downtown area can bring those materials in. They'll be easier to load. And once they close the door, it automatically compacts. It's great for aesthetic reasons. It's great for the fact we're going to still be servicing them every day. We want to make sure we have plenty of capacity, which is very important when you guys have those special events. We are very confident that the capacity will be enough to handle those. So we're real excited about that. As a side note, this evening, timing is everything in life. I saw company is because of world markets and particularly foreign markets who are wanting cleaner and cleaner materials for recycling to buy as a commodity. Our company is now working with commercial businesses to help them be more educated and clean up the materials they're putting in their recycling bins. And plastic is one of the #1 issues for contamination. Our equipment, our processing equipment, not only in commercial programs, but we'll work with the city as we move forward to help clean up the residential side of it too. So we can keep, because the cost for. In a cleaner, we can get the materials either on a residential basis or a commercial basis. Will help keep future costs low for all users. It's not just a Mount Dora problem, it's all over the United States, so something that's everybody working on. So in the spirit of what Zoe has provided, I gave her my business card, and we're going to help support Zoe in her efforts to get that going, because it dovetails right into what we want to do. So we'll be working with Zoe and rolling out her program, as well as helping people downtown keep those bags, not use those bags, use less bags, So we're real excited about that.
Don't forget that trademark copyright.
Oh, that's right. She's got it. She can have that. Right. And I'll tell you what, this might be a pilot for some of our other cities. So we're very excited to potentially help her with that. One thing is we are going the grant program for the carts included a 10%. It's a 90% grant, so the city would normally have to come up with 10% or $7,500. Waste Management is going to reimburse that to the city or provide the carts at a cheaper rate. As well. One of the things I wanted to tell you about, if Joseph Grisoukas of, I hope I got that right. Grisoukas. I screwed it up. I knew it would. Joseph has been a world of help in negotiating this contract. He has a great solid waste background. And he did an excellent job with a little bit of help from our folks in a world-class brochure, trifold brochure that will be working with the city to mail out probably sometime in August to tell them the program's coming. The program is going to start October 1st. We want to get a lot of material out. In addition, we've agreed to do something in the newspaper and some other potential public and PSAs out there to announce it's coming. Additionally, we'll work with the city on the website to make sure all the information is there. And prior to startup, sometime in September, we have plans to door hang every home in Mount Dora because some days are going to change. It's all going to be on one day, but it may be the same day you get your garbage, but you get your recycling and your yard waste the same day. There's going to be some day changes associated with it, and we found that the most effective way to get that information out to the residents is door hanging. A lot of times they don't look at their utility bill, or they maybe see something informational that may look like junk mail. So we find that door hanging, it's very expensive for us. It takes crews a few days to get that out. We will certainly work with the HOAs to make sure that is okay with the HOAs. If they want to use a optional alternative to get that word out, we'll work with them on that as well. So that's kind of where we're at. Unless you guys have any other questions, we're real excited about moving forward.
Doug, is there any way that the notices can be placed on the containers so that the residents that are here during that time know about the change, and the door hanger's not hanging on a door where a resident is not at home at that point in time and may not be home for a few days, just because that leaves, well, or a few months, yeah. It just leaves the door hanger hanging out there for our for the public to see that they haven't bothered to go to the door because they're not home, not
That's
because
true.
they haven't gone.
That's a very good point. Now, we can put it on the container. The only risk with that, we're announcing something going from twice a week, from twice a week to once a week. So somebody may not have their container out either one of those days. But,
Right. I think they at least have one of them. They may not have both, but if we put it on the recycle and the garbage can, maybe over a 3-week time period, different neighborhoods, I think, and then we'll do a lot of noticing on our side.
And I think we can work with our customer billing, Joe Prochaskis, Public Works. Customer billing, we put a note on the billing tag, so they will get a mail notice that things are changing. Look for the schedule. We can also put the website within the mat on it, the new flyer, so they'll have that information.
And you can do it on the e-bills as well. You can
Correct.
It
Go to all of them.
Yeah.
Yes. So okay.
So,
But
and
I think that rather than door hanger, if we can do that, that would be our preference.
Right. And I did want to mention one thing about the Bear Grant. We have not received it yet, so October 1st, these carts may not be available yet. The way the Bear Grant is working is we're going to submit for it. It does not require going to council or a signature to submit for the Bear Grant. But when we get awarded the Bear Grant, we'll have to come back to you for the award. So that may not happen October 1st, and I'm not sure the timing on that yet, but we'll get that through as quickly as possible.
And on the Bear Grant again, that was $75,000 from Fish and Wildlife.
Well, it's up to 75. We'll see what we asked for 75. It's about 300 carts. We'll see what we're awarded.
And then Waste Management will
We'll match whatever with the 10%.
So there's $0 to the city.
Correct. Motion for approval?
I so move approval of 53.
A second? Second. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Olson.
I want to compliment Waste Management for everything you've done. And not only passing along some savings, albeit maybe small to some, but nevertheless savings for that. I also want to thank Mark and Joe for...
So just turn around to the public and see what the front of that looks like.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all right.
How it works too. There's a latch in the front that opens up to the resident. When it gets up to this angle, there's two balls that roll down that slaps open. So this is the only thing that works with the waste management trucks.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Mr. Olson.
Thank you. At any rate, thanks to Joe and Mark and you and Waste Management, Jose, for doing this. I think we're one of the few remaining in Lake County that still has, at least currently, 2-day-a-week pickup. And while it's going to be a little inconvenient for some, I think, or at least it'll be a habit that they will have to break to once a day, it'll still be beneficial. And I want to speak to the bear garbage a bit. I want to, if you'll allow me a little shameless plug on Temple Mount Dora.
That's 2 in 1 night now.
That's true. You're going to limit me to 3 minutes, I suppose. At any rate, we passed a resolution at the country club that urged, we couldn't mandate it, but we did everything but urge our residents to, for example, not have bird feeders. Bears can smell, my knowledge from all of this comes from people smarter than I, can smell bird feeders from 2 miles away. And it's a high protein food for them, especially when they're ready to take their little nap or whatever they need to bulk up for. And we have had, I don't know, dozens of bears in the country club of Mount Dora that we've noticed. We've had some close calls. I would say close calls because a mother bear with a cub, that's nothing to mess with. And some residents did a little messing and quickly had to back off from that. And so it could be very dangerous. I'm pleased that we have qualified for that. We worked very closely with the Florida Wildlife Commission. We've had at least 2 seminars put on by them. We put all the material on our website. We have a very good website in the country called Mount Dora, and the stuff is there. We put out signs saying this is watch for bears, gold signs and things like that. So that helped us qualify for this Florida Wildlife Commission because of the work we did to prepare for that. And many other people participated in that preparation, so it's not just the HOA Board of Directors, but our manager and everybody else, our security committee and many others that helped with that. I am pleased that the city is now taking this on because there are bears, and we certainly know that from our front yard, they're close to our front yard, that are coming into the city of Mount Dora. And while it's to see a nice black bear walk around and how cute that is, let me assure you from my experiences in the country of Mount Dora that it is not a cute thing to get in the way of a bear, especially a bear with cubs. So, and Donnie Stroud is a member of our HOA board that's sitting here, and I hope to elevate everything that I've said with regard to the work that we've done. So I'm pleased with that, and I understand there is a, pardon my long speech, I've exceeded my, I guess I don't have any time limit, so I can keep going.
Just want to press the button.
There is a, I haven't heard mentioned, there is a little seminar public information thing coming up at the library on which date? It's coming Friday?
August 1st.
Lisa McDonald, Public Information. We have a bear workshop with Florida Fish and Wildlife August 1st at the W.T. Bland Library at 11 a.m. We're inviting our residents and anybody outside of Mount Dora if they want to come and check it out.
Thank you, Lisa. No. it's important as many people as can make that, to try to attend. I hope the house is packed, or they have to turn them away, because there's important information. We will get it through other means as well, but I wanted to take this opportunity to thank everybody that participated in this, our city manager that waded through all of this as well, to get us where we're at, including our mayor. So thank you very much. I think it'll be a great transition for the city. Thank you. Thank you, Council.
Just make a comment real quick, and then Mr. Creel. Where we are on that side of it. The other day, I think it was just yesterday, I was walking around the house inside doing some different things, and TV was on, and there was a video on. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I was listening to it, and it was one of our local stations, and they had a video of a bear trying to get into one of these things, and I don't know if it was yours or where it was, but basically that was probably all the same design, a lot of these. And this bear, they struggled to get in there and could not get into it, and finally walked away from the residents and looking for something else. So I guess if you turn that knob, those things work, and it keeps those bears out of your trash. Fortunately, Lakes Mount Dora, we keep our trash cans within our garages. That's our CCR rules over there in our place. So, but then again, we have that little cart path between the country club and the lakes, and I think the bears are coming into our place through that golf cart path. So we are getting them in our place too, and they're right into people's backyards, and I understand exactly what you're saying on that. But there's Mr. Creel.
Just two questions, and I'm not sure, Joe, Doug, Mark, whomever, just to make sure I'm right. With once a week collection, it will be really important that if my once a week is Monday, and Monday happens to be a holiday, that somebody will be, that we're not skipping a week.
No, this contract includes the same as all of our once a weeks. Regardless of the holiday, you'll be picked up the following day. Along with, if it's a Monday holiday, both Monday and Tuesday service will be done on Tuesday.
Okay.
For all the holidays, no problem. A quick little story on the bear cart. I met with the manufacturer's rep, and they've seen where there's these carts out. Obviously, a bear will initially try to take this on, as the mayor described in that video, and after a while, they recognize the top or the color, and then walk by it and go to another can that isn't a bear cart. So they're pretty smart too, smarter than the average bear.
One more question. I know now we have a choice of several different sizes of trash cans, and going from twice a week to once a week, I imagine some folks are going to say, you know what, I'd like to move up to a bigger can, and how will that work?
All they have to do is request that. As part of our contract, we realize that some people have the smaller cans, and twice a week, it's not necessarily have a larger one, and we don't want the public to panic and say, wait a minute, if I go to once a week, it's not going to fit in the can I selected. So we provided in the contract that as we have in the current contract, that they can call and request a larger cart, and we'll provide it at no additional charge. So we're anticipating that, and we're going to gear up our inventory to kind of understand what that looks like.
And that'll be part of the brochure, the
exactly.
door hanger, whatever, so folks will know how to get in touch with you.
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Good question. Thank you.
Well, great minds must think alike, because those were my two questions also. The only thing I would add to that was, how big is your largest can?
This is a 96.
Okay.
The standard cart that we did put in is 64, so you can go to a 96.
Okay.
And those are available in bare, for those bare areas, or in the standard container. So we have those available.
So you can go up to 96?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much.
And
we anticipate some of that.
What's the slightly littler than 64?
Well, we got 48. Yeah, and we got 35. So, a vast array of carts to choose from.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I wanted to raise the same issue. I wanted to raise the same issue that Mr. Quayle did. Thank you for doing that. I want the public to be aware that they could upgrade the size in the reduction to once a week. Thank you.
And finally, along that same line, I'm assuming that Waste Management will pick up the current cart that you exchange for a larger one.
Yes, all the
The
carts.
homeowner doesn't have to figure out what to do with this cart now.
No, it's an
Well,
exchange.
it's an
You pick up
exchange.
the old
Pick up
one,
the old one.
deliver a new one of the appropriate size that was selected.
Okay, well, okay, and one final comment, I mean, I hate to be the stinky bomb in all of this, but I don't, you love to. I guess so, anyway, but.
Go right ahead.
I have over the past, couple of weeks talking to people in my district, gotten kind of an earful on, it's gonna stink in the hot summer. Only, twice a week it smells bad. I mean, it's hot here in Florida, so is there anything that I can tell them to assuage their concerns over smell, or just, suck it up?
Well, the only thing, we've converted a lot of cities, including the city of Eustis, the city of Umatilla, over to once a week over the last couple of years, and the same fears or, anxiety about the garbage stinking comes up. But once we start the program, there's very little complaints. And the best advice is, and I'm sure most residents do this, is just put it in a tightly tied bag. I have once a week, I'm in the city of Wildwood, Waste Management Services that accompany me there, and I had the same concerns when I moved there because I used to have once a week service. But it's in my garage, and even during the summer months, as long as I kind of double tie the bag, and when you do that, it keeps the cart clean and keeps the odors minimal. And when you open it, you may smell a little bit, but when you shut it down, it's fine. So I think it'll be fine.
And I have one final question about the bear carts or bear cans. As we all know, we have had bears, on Tremaine and Fifth recently, and I also was the recipient of a fascinating video from one trying to get into a house on Hilltop, which is obviously not the Country Club of Mount Dora. So I'm just sort of, will there be bear carts available for those people who live in neighborhoods that have seen bears recently? I know that, not Stony Brook, Summerbrook has people, Summerbrook have asked me about this, people in Summerview up there off of Niles Road. So I think it's more than just, Country Club and the Lakes area that we're being invaded by these little 4-foot things.
Well, to answer your question, yes, the carts will be available to those outside of the grant area, but it will be for a cost. The other thing I will say is we will continue to see if grants will become available. The conditions that come with the grant is that there has to be an ordinance, and it works for Country Club because they have an ordinance in place. That's why it's working that way.
So, can we then have to do some ordinancing?
The ordinance is the HOA, not you as a city council. So if the HOA that's a member, that Summerview is a member of, if they wish to pass a similar HOA ordinance as the Country Club did, then they would qualify for a future grant. But if there's no
well, like Hilltop, there's no HOA, in just your sort of your
so we'll have to
HOA
reach out to
neighborhood.
the Fish and Wildlife. Otherwise, there's a commitment on the council that we would put so much money aside to be able to pay for that out of regular funding as a source within the city. But that's an option.
Well, I think it's something. Is that something that we could sort of put on the list to sort of say, okay, can we sort of have a for Thursday, we can sort of talk about that.
There'll be further discussion on this, yes.
We did it at the Country Club by resolution. It's not an ordinance, but it's by resolution, and it's the same thing.
Okay, correct.
It's adopted by and it was unanimously adopted by the HOA board.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Oaks has an idea.
Well, I don't have an idea. I'm going to agree with you, Ms. Tellett, that I think that we need to look at what are our options for those other areas in the city who have had bear problems. And you've named a couple, I can name 4 or 5 others. I don't think it's fair, and I understand you've done all you've done, so we as a city need to look what we need to do for all of the city
for one group to be able to get it through a grant because you've done it, we need to offer that ability, however we have to put it together, for the rest of the residents, because they shouldn't have to pay $250 to get it, if it's been a truly defined problem. And I think we ought to be able to track that and know, okay, so.
and you're right, and that is the nature of that grant.
Yeah.
So
we need to figure out,
that's
think out of the box another way for the other citizens.
Once a month.
Who want it, who've actually had problems.
Yes.
Right, who have had a problem.
Data, we need data.
Also, we committed to the city, and it was primarily for Mount Dora initially, before the Bearcat cards were available through grant, which is great. But in certain areas, we can't do it unlimited, but we can redo our scheduling in certain bear-prone areas where we would arrive later in the morning to potentially allow residents to put their material out in the daytime and avoid potentially a nighttime bear attack, right? So we'll be flexible with that, and where possible. We can't do it for everybody, otherwise we'd be starting everybody at 10 o'clock in the morning or something, which we can't do. But we can work with the city on those bear-prone areas that are not under the grant and potentially avoid additional costs to the resident for purchasing one.
Any other comments from council? And anybody from the public wish to address this item, come forward, state your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Karen Rosinto. I live at 2360 Southland Road. I'm on the county side of Mount Dora, but I have a business in downtown Mount Dora, and I property manage all over Mount Dora. I understand that the grant for the country club is a great idea, but is it fair to all the residents of the country club to only have 300 people get free, and then everybody else has to pay for it? Why can't we look at doing a partial grant to each homeowner in there? I know that if one of my owners is out of town and misses that, that's not a good opportunity or fair to them. So I'm just suggesting that you rethink about giving 300 free to 300 residents, and then the rest of the residents have to pay for them in full.
The answer is probably because not everybody wants that, and so that's why it's permissive. But you make a good point. Thank you very much.
Anybody else from the public wish to address this item? Seeing none, Ms. Johnson, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Ralston?
Yes.
Mr. Crail?
Yes.
Mr. Massey?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Ms. Tillett?
Yes.
Ms. Hope?
Yes.
Mayor Jerome?
Yes. Okay. That can go.
Next item is.
All same?
Next item is piggyback on this one.
It's the rates.
It's the rates, they do take it.
Oh, my Resolution number 2018, the solid waste residential and commercial rates, and this tops off. Do we have the title right, please?
Resolution number 2018-90, a resolution of City Council of the City of Mount Dora, Florida, authorization for municipal refuse collection and disposal, service fees and charges, providing for legislative administrative findings, providing for delegation to and implementing actions by the city manager, providing for the mayor to execute, providing for a savings provision, and providing for scrivener's errors, conflict severability, and effective date.
Thank you, Ms. Hayes.
Thank you, Mayor, Council members. As stated in this memo, this really, we relook at the rates that are passed on to the citizens. We are able to currently go from a city fee of $21.21 to $19.27. At the end of the day, saving each of our citizens $1.94 and passing that back through them on a monthly basis on their bill. And we just propose that you approve the savings to the citizens.
Have a motion for approval. Resolution 2018-96 or 90, excuse me.
So moved.
Got a motion second. Thank you. Any comments, questions from council? Seeing none, anybody from the public wish to address this item? Seeing none, Ms. Johnson, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Creel?
Yes.
Ms. Tillett?
Yes.
Mr. Rolfson?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Massey?
Yes.
Ms. Hope?
Yes.
Mayor Jerome?
Yes. I'm sorry about that.
If I may, just a text message. I will make one comment, if I may, Mayor, on this particular item. I had someone ask me, in the original contract, there was a fee set aside for medical rates. That was pulled out of the new contract, if I understand correctly, so there's no fee, and so I know that I was there was a medical cost associated, but that, to where Waste Management would go into the garage, I'm assuming, and pick up a container and put it back out for them.
Right, what was in the contract before was what they call a non-medical grade.
Okay.
We provide free service to the side of the house and the back of the house for anybody who has disabilities. And there was a non-medical for anybody who wanted to pay the extra $6 and get the service without a medical need. So that's been stricken this time. So
Medical requests, they just reach out to Waste Management and work that through you, so that's available to anyone.
yes, anyone. I think we have some now actually.
Thank you.
I want to confess my surprise. I did not know that we were paying for that Cycle Bank program, and I'm glad it is now out of there, which saves $24,000 to city residents. Part of the savings, in fact, adds 44 cents to the reduction of the bill. But I was ignorant about that. I shouldn't have been, but I am. I confess to that.
When it first started, it was a nice program. People were utilizing it, and but as it goes on, it was I think a little hassle going online and keeping track of everything. So and it went off to the wayside a little bit. So thank you for doing that, and we make those adjustments on that. Okay, resolution number 2018-96, amendment to number 1 to a loan agreement, and for the utilities, and Ms. Cockroft, could we have the title read, please?
Yes, sir. Resolution number 2018-96, a resolution of City of Mount Dora, Florida, approving state revolving fund amendment number 1 to loan agreement DW351450, authorizing the mayor to execute amendment number 1 in accordance with sound procurement practices and principles, providing for legislative findings and intent, providing for implementing administrative actions, providing for a savings provision, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for a conflict, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you, Ms. Hayes.
Yes, Mayor, the council members, thank you. This one's actually in reference to a state revolving loan. As you can see in the details, the total project was budgeted at and approved for $3.6 million. Portions of the project was funded out of the drinking water loan, others out of the clean water. We actually were under budget in one of them and over on the other one of about 112,000, or excuse me, represented about 112,000 savings. And then the other project we were actually short a little bit. So they trued the total project up, the state did, they approved us for that true up, and this has been reflected in this request as well as a presentation back to you. This is also an item that we have spent some time to make sure that we reconciled, to make sure that it was in good shape before we presented it to you because of the $108,000 that we extended over the initial one for the one side of the loan. But overall, we still had a savings resulting in total of about $220,000, and the state's approved the adjustment.
Have a motion for approval?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any comments, questions from council? Ms. Tillett?
Just one clarification. So basically, this is just a put and take?
It is.
Okay.
Just the state requires it because it's a state revolving loan, and we
Got it.
cannot just make that adjustment on our own.
Got it.
And our financials will reflect this also.
Okay.
Anybody from the public wish to address this item? Seeing none, Ms. Johnson, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Tillett?
Yes.
Mr. Massey?
Yes.
Mr. Creel?
Yes.
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Rolfson?
Yes.
Ms. Hope?
Yes.
Mayor Jerome?
Yes. Resolution number 2018-97, approval of the 2018 Seafood Festival. Ms. Cockcroft, could we have the title read, please?
Resolution number 2018-97, a resolution of City Council of City of Mount Dora, Florida, approving the application for the 2018 Mount Dora Seafood Festival, requesting to allow for the street closure, providing for legislative findings and intent, providing for authority to the city manager for implementing administrative actions, providing for a savings provision, scrivener's errors, conflict, severability, and effective date.
Thank you. Ms. Hayes?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, council members. I'm gonna ask, Chris Carson to come up and elaborate on the Mount Dora Seafood Festival.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Chris Carson, Cultural and Special Events Coordinator for our beautiful Mount Dora. This would mark our 4th year for the 2018 Seafood Festival. We will be aligning Simpson Cove as well as Edgerton Court and Evans Park, once again with vendors as well as entertainment, and we expect quite the turnout. The event organizer is Visit Mount Dora once again. Don Stewart is here on behalf of Visit Mount Dora, and the city itself will be passing on the fees to Visit Mount Dora, and they will be reimbursing the city in its entirety.
Any, have a motion for approval? Are you gonna
Move to approve.
Second.
Second. Thank you. Any comments from the council?
Yeah, I have one.
Go ahead, Mr.
And I don't know if you can answer this possibly, Mr. Stewart. Just as a 5-hour parking ride that starts at Christian Academy, and who put that together? Who's getting the money? Is the Christian Academy gets $5? Is a private entity doing that?
Visit Mount Dora coordinates the shuttling for that, for the 2-day event. I know there's a shuttle service from the Christian Academy that they provided for some of the larger events on the lakefront with their busing. Similar to what you see with the craft fair and the art festival, the Christian Academy would supply the shuttle service.
So they're supplying all the buses?
Correct.
Whatever. That's,
yeah, that's all internal through.
So if I could park at the Christian Academy, pay them $5 and they shuttle me down?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's where it's going.
So, yeah.
But that's shuttles, not buses.
Yeah, I was just curious. I saw that.
Olson and, oh, I'm sorry, you.
No, I just, so that's strictly Christian Academy. So.
That's coordinated from Visit Mount Dora and Christian Academy, yes. The train itself will be running, once again, like the Blueberry Festival, AM July 3rd, so there'll be train service as well. The city itself has a few shuttle carts on the roadway who will be helping with those services, and we expect to hopefully attract thousands of people to Mount Dora.
I'll be there in my pirate outfit.
There you go. Thank you, sir.
Will shiver my timbers, but that's all. I was just wondering if the city of Mount Dora is going to do its regular golf cart, are we planning on using what lots, or is it going to be roaming? And I mean, are we going to be using the Methodist Church or the First Baptist or the lot up on the corner of Liberty and Highland, etc.? So I'm assuming that you'll get all that worked out.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Mr. Olson?
As long as they have kettle corn, I'm in 500 favor. Mr. Tucker, the high school also, I think they provide bus service, and also say parking right over there at the high school, and where they provide things in. That money goes through the ROTC program.
Okay, I just saw that.
Volunteers handle that.
Interested in who was doing that. So thank you.
Okay, any other comments from council? Seeing none, anybody from the public wish to address this item? Seeing none, Ms. Johnson, can I have the roll call vote, please?
Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Ms. Hope?
Yes.
Ms. Tillett?
Yes.
Mr. Robson?
Yes.
Mr. Crail?
Yes.
Mr. Massey?
Yes.
Mayor Jerome?
Yes. We're going to take a small recess at this point, and because we got quite a few items yet, and we need to go through and take a break now.